are good at teeth.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Stephanie Iacino. I am the Director of Community Engagement, and today I'm joined by our mental health team, or part of our mental health team, Mario Nunez, our mental health specialist. Since your title changed, I have to remember which one it is now.
New transitions.
Marina, I don't know how to say your last name.
Marina Terrell.
Okay, and she is our admin assistant for the mental health.
Yes.
And then Amanda Roussos?
Yes, you got it.
She's one of our mental health clinicians. And so today we're going to talk a little bit more about our mental health program. I know very little about it, so I'm going to learn with you guys, ask questions. If you guys have questions, feel free to write it down in the chat, and I will ask these guys. So, Marina, do you want to kind of start off by telling us what the program is?
Yeah, of course. So we're the mental health program here for Parents by Choice. We just recently started last year, and slowly we started growing with the clientele and helping the kiddos join in our mental health program. But we serve mainly as a outpatient, but not exactly outpatient program, because we only serve Parents by Choice foster kiddos right now. At the moment, we serve 0 to 21, so we're actually also serving our THP youth. So we were able to, at first we weren't going to be able to see them, but we were able to, advocate for them, make sure that they were able to get mental health services. So now that's something that we are doing.
Can you explain what THP is?
Yes, so THP is our transitional housing program. It's after the kiddos move on from foster care, they're able to join this program where we offer them housing, and they're able to get other services. I'm not too familiar with the full THP program, but what I do know is that we work closely with them to make sure that they get the component of mental health with us. So I know they have monthly goals, and one of their goals happens to be, if they're interested, they could get mental health services. And again, that age group is from 18 to 21. So after 21, they transition out of the foster care system. And then so we also have a couple of different programs that we have within mental health. We have 2 tiers. The first one, like I was speaking about, is the mental health program. We also have a TFC program, which includes foster parents actually giving therapeutic foster care, which is the program's name, to the youth that we're seeing in our mental health program. And that program turns on and off depending on kiddos' needs, but pretty much it's foster parents guiding and furthering the skills that they're learning with the therapist in their daily lives. So they're able to help them Monday through Friday or whatever day they would need it, so that they're continuously getting help therapeutically rather than just once a week like average or normal mental health. So that's just a little bit about our mental health program. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask, and we'll answer as we go.
So, Mario, do you want to tell us a little bit about your role in mental health?
Sure. So, as a mental health specialist, I have the privilege of working closely with our amazing therapists here at BBC, which consists of Myra, Carlos, and Amanda. When they receive a referral for a new client, they go through what is called an initial assessment, where they're able to communicate with the client and come up with goals for them to work on and achieve through therapy. My role as a mental health specialist is to give the clients further support in improving or teaching them new coping skills, working on communication skills, expressing their feelings and emotions, or working on their impulsivity. Those are some examples of what we would be working on in our sessions together. Sometimes clients come into therapy with different layers or experiences that they've gone through in their lives. And in order for a therapist to be effective, they needed to be able to hit that middle layer. And so part of my role, or what I do, is I kind of go through the outer layers by teaching them and supporting them with the skills necessary, so that when the therapist actually hits that middle layer, they have the tools needed to be able to go through that therapeutic process and be able to hit their ultimate goal.
Awesome.
Okay. So Amanda, do you want to talk a little bit about the importance of mental health?
Yeah, I definitely, sorry, I definitely can. I feel like everybody could use some form of mental health or therapy or just support in any way, whether it's formal or informal. Therapy is really a scientifically proven process, and it teaches you how the mind works and it helps you navigate your feelings, building better behaviors, and it's all related to your thoughts, so you can achieve life differently in the way you would see it to be. This is achieved through just like processing past events or traumas, going through interventions, which is just activities basically within therapy, and learning how to do things differently or just think of things in a different way. So those are all some important things. And so we can talk a little bit about what we offer here in terms of...
If you want to tell us a little bit more about which each clinician does with our kids and all of that.
Yeah, for sure. So Myra is a clinical director, and she is amazing with art therapy, and she does some amazing interventions. I've gotten to witness a few of those things, and it's absolutely incredible what she can come up with out of just a few artistic
supplies,
right? Just a few art supplies, and she does great. And she does other therapy modalities, which are just types of therapy. So what's it?
She does the art therapy,
which is aggression, redirection.
Yes, there we go.
Aggression, redirection. So there's different acronyms for every therapy. She likes trauma-focused CBT, which is trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, and that's something that I am also certified in. And so she does many other things other than art therapy, but that's her main form of therapy that she uses with all of her interventions. And then Carlos, he is certified in EMDR, which is a really cool therapy. Not something that you would use with every client, but it's really great for trauma work, especially with kids. And so it's really a neat therapy that uses eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And so it's connecting your physical body to your mind and then redirecting some of those thoughts and behaviors. So it's kind of a neat therapy process.
Yeah, definitely.
He also does sand tray therapy and play therapy, and so that's where he uses physical things like a sand tray, and they get to work through some of their story or their process and physically act or play that out in a certain way, or there's many different ways that you can use that within therapy. And so, yeah, that's one of those things that he uses. I have a background personally in wilderness therapy. And so just being out in nature and connecting just on a very holistic level with like somatic work, which is your body work, and connecting your mind, your thoughts, your emotions all together as one. And so it works great for, I personally think, everybody, because we store things not only in our thoughts and our emotions, but our body will also remember things that we may not even think about. And so being able to process through physically what we're going through, I think is really important for working through that therapeutic process.
So there's a lot of different types of therapy.
Yes,
There
definitely. A lot that we haven't even mentioned too. It just depends on the client too, and each therapist would, like she mentioned, like Carlos, he does the EMDR, but he would know best whether that type of modality would fit with that client. So
Exactly.
I feel like you guys all have different modalities that you use, but it just depends on what the client needs, and that's the main focus about therapy, focusing on the client and what their needs are.
And
So-
some of which you can get certified in. Some of them you don't need to be certified to use the techniques, but there's hundreds of different therapy styles out there. And I know for a lot of us, we like to blend different things together and use techniques from one therapy style and other things from another. And just I like to treat the client holistically, meaning I like to treat all of the client, not just focus on certain symptoms. And whether that means in their environment or internally or doing the body somatic work, I mean, it's just all of the above. And so I know all of us, Carlos, Mario, Myra, and I, like, we all like to help the client with an array of things and not just focus on one specific goal. And I feel like that can be really helpful for our kiddos.
Yeah, I think that plays a big part too, because a client might show behavior in one place but act completely different in another place. So if you're only addressing it in one way, you're not helping them throughout the whole picture or throughout their whole life. And going through like all the interventions and things like that, I think as being a professional in the mental health field, it's important for us to be able to like get to know our clients and know what type of interventions or what type of activities will best benefit them, where they'll actually engage and participate.
Exactly.
We don't want to do something that's just they're gonna sit there like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, therapy is not one size fits all.
No, definitely not.
It's very individualized.
Yeah.
So do you guys decide, like, from the assessment, okay, this would probably work best for this client, or how does that work?
I mean, I would say it starts with that. When you do your assessment, you get to know that client, and you may off the bat think this is not going to work for this person, but this might. But as you go, things change. You might start with something and realize this is not working at all, and I really need to change my approach right now. And I love working on a team where I can go to Mario, I can go to Myra, I can go to Carlos, and say, you know what, this isn't working within what I'm doing with this client. Like, do you have any suggestions? And so having that collaboration on all of our parts, where we don't specifically talk about what's going on for that client, of course, but it's how can I best serve when I've got this going on that's hindering this process. And so being able to connect as a team and work together, I think that produces much more, I don't know, what's the word for it?
Better outcomes or
Yeah,
better
just-
connections with the kiddos, just finding different
Yeah.
ways. Maybe they see, you could talk about like a certain situation, and then, you know, just getting someone's outside point of view can help you better connect with the client, or trying new things and seeing if that would work with the client. So
Yeah, just new points of view.
new points of view,
Yeah, I think
hopefully new
that's
outcomes.
the big part of it too, is just making sure, having that communication, you're able to see, like, because everyone's background is different, so everyone will have a different approach to what's going on, so you get different ideas and like different activities that you can do with the client, and so even it's for you, it's always a learning experience for you as well.
So Mario, since you're doing something kind of different with the kids, do you want to like give us a little example of what you do with the kids?
Yeah, so some of the kids that I have now, it really depends on what the goal of therapy is. So if the therapist is trying to get the client to communicate on their feelings or emotions, but they're avoiding it, right? So part of my job is going in and doing interventions like I feel statements to be able to have them express, I'm feeling sad, and identifying what it is that's making them feel sad. Or going over even something simple as like flashcards that show different emotions. Because you think, oh, what's easy? You can see that face is sad. But sometimes people aren't able to recognize the emotion or the expression or the social cues of when someone's feeling a certain way. And so that's all part of what I would work with the client to make sure that they're able to identify those things and be able to express them verbally.
All right. Chat is quiet today. Wow. All right. So let's see. I recently heard that children in foster care are twice as likely to have PTSD than a U.S. veteran, war veteran. Do you think? Have you seen that, like, from working here compared to other places?
Wow. So that's interesting.
Yeah,
It's very interesting, just because I feel both of them could come from very traumatic experiences, but just hearing that foster children are experiencing it twice as much is just kind of eye-opening for me.
It honestly makes a lot of sense. A lot of these kids go through some extensive trauma for a long time before they end up in foster care. And
yeah, actually, you're right. That does make sense.
Make a lot of
yeah,
sense.
it does make a lot of sense. And just thinking, when you go to the military, you're a little older. You're an adult. I'm not too sure how that works actually, but I'm sure you're an adult. So you're experiencing PTSD from like whatever you're experiencing there. But as a foster kiddo, you're experiencing these things very, very young.
You don't know how to adjust to things yet. Your parents may or may not be around to teach you how to cope with things.
Exactly.
A lot of times, parents themselves don't know how to cope with the trauma that they're experiencing, whether it's maybe a domestic violence situation or loss of a spouse. I mean, we don't know the situation, and so these kids are being hit at a really vulnerable time in their development where they're missing out on some of these teachable moments. And I can understand where that trauma could really impact them and can cause a lot of those lasting effects, especially in relation to attachment and building connections with others and make them more reactive to certain situations in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
And, that does make a lot of sense. Just, I think them being young is kind of the key thing there.
Mhm.
Is how it's going to
Mhm.
impact them as they get older and become adults.
Mhm.
Like how Amanda's saying, their ability to communicate, they might want to isolate their ability to form connections or real connections, things like
Mhm.
that. They're going to look for, similar experiences that they had as children. That might not be the best for them.
Yeah.
Because they may not know any different.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it could be generational. I mean, maybe
Mhm.
the parents were brought up that same way, and so they're bringing up their children that same way, and it's going to lead to generation and generation.
mhm. And that's a real thing, generational trauma. It just happens repeatedly because there's nothing there to break that cycle. And so that makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah. I feel like that's something that brings back why it's important to get mental health
Mhm.
services, because there is a way to break that cycle, and you can process it and, like you mentioned, think about it in a different way with the kiddos, or help them find coping skills so that in the future they don't use the ones that they learned for,
Mhm.
generation. So
And I feel like receiving mental health services isn't just for foster kids, isn't just for somebody that has a mental health diagnosis. It's for everybody.
everyone.
I mean, really, anyone could use a tune-up here or there, just as a support, somebody to lean on, somebody to talk to. Because as a therapist, I'm not there to tell you what or how to do something. It's really about, it's your journey. There's an analogy I like where you're the driver on a road trip. I'm just the passenger. I'm there to help read a map. I'm there to help point things out that you may miss along the side of the road. But it's really your journey, and it's what you're wanting to do with your life. I'm just helping you to see things maybe a little bit differently, or process something in your past that may be holding you up. And so, yeah.
I love that. I love that.
That is a great analogy.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people think of like therapy, like, or a lot of people have that negative view of therapy, like, oh, I'm gonna go see this person who thinks they know it all. But in fact, we here, and I hope many other places, it's very client-centered. It's what the client needs. It's their journey. We're just there to help them through it. And like we mentioned earlier, it's very individualized. We don't try to do like, oh, because this worked with this person's going to need the same thing. It's literally up to the person, what they need, and what's going to fit them best.
And we go at the pace of the client.
Yeah.
We're not going to push things too fast or too hard on anybody. If we need to take a step back because it's overwhelming, that's fine. We can do that. Or if you're in therapy and just like, yes, like things are working really well, I can do this, we'll help push you even harder and just see where it is that you're maybe struggling in the future. Or, it's just totally individualized.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
I really like that. I'm going to use that.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. I think a lot of people too expect to go to therapy, and it's like, well, they're going to go and they're going to fix all of my problems. No.
That's not how it works.
We're here to guide you so that you're able to make those changes within yourself, and then you will be in charge of making, changing those things that are affecting your life.
Yeah.
So that is a great analogy that just kind of promotes all of that.
Yeah, definitely. Even with like the coronavirus, like everything that's going on, we're very limited right now. So like some people maybe have been scared, like, oh, what we're going to do now, but just thinking about the client, if they're interested and still feel comfortable coming into the office, that's something we do provide. But some of them were very nervous, right? They didn't want to come in, and they were kind of scared about what's going to happen in the service. So we did things that would help those clients. So clients that were like, I still want therapy, but I don't feel comfortable coming in. We started doing the telehealth. So everybody's individualized. Not all of the clients we see are doing telehealth, because some of them prefer to come in. So even that, we just are still focused on the client and their needs, and if they need to come in, we're here for them. If they need telehealth services, if they need phone services, we're able to provide that. Everything's very individualized and again,
even
client focused.
Yeah, and even here we send people out to the home too.
Yeah.
It's not that you have to come here or have to do telehealth. Like, there are certain circumstances where we can go into the home and provide therapy or rehabilitative specialist services in the home, just to provide that in a new environment. Because sometimes when you're doing it here in the office or over the phone, it's, I've got this, but then when it kind of is rubber meet the road at home, it's a lot harder. And so having somebody to come in and do something in a new environment is helpful.
Yeah.
We're just eye-opening in a different way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, which speaks a lot, because you, like Amanda's saying, is we can do everything here and you can have it mastered and you're perfectly fine, but then you go back to your house and where you're being triggered or things are different, it can be more chaotic, more noisy, and everything that you were able to do here, kind of goes out the window, and we're back to square one.
Yeah.
So being able to actually work in the environment that's triggering you actually helps the client.
Yeah.
So you guys go out to the schools with the kids to help out, or that'd be more Mario's?
That'd probably be more my role, where I'm going. Well, they can go out to the home as well. I think school might be a little more.
Yeah, I don't think we would go to the school. There are other therapy programs that are within the schools and things like that, which we're not a part of right at the moment. But future, that may shift again when schools are open. But
not sure about the therapist, but I know I can go into the school if they need that extra support.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So Cynthia in the chat says, what is a way we can encourage a foster youth to participate in mental health therapy, as some children do not understand why they need to go or are scared?
Oh, that's interesting.
So just like you would go for a wellness exam or go to the doctor, whether you're sick or not, just every year, it's good to just kind of get a tune-up. It's just you're taking care of your mental health the same way that you take care of your body, making sure that things are still doing well.
Yeah. I can also think of so let's say the kiddo's very resistant, doesn't understand why they would want to come to therapy. Maybe just talking to them and explaining why it's important. Like we mentioned, everyone needs it. It's not just him that needs it or her. Mentioning like how even that person or that foster parent or parent, whoever is there with them, how they could benefit from it too, and just making, I feel like we need to normalize it. It's not very normalized. And then a lot of kiddos are like, I maybe some kiddos can be defensive too, like, oh, you think I need therapy, I would feel defensive too, but thankfully I have the understanding now that I'm older, where I do need that time to express myself. Sometimes I don't feel comfortable talking to my mom. I have my sister, but sometimes I don't want them to know everything because they take it very biasly. So sometimes it's good to get that unbiased opinion, just to talk about. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but just maybe giving them or helping them understand that therapy is important because it's good to let everything out. Just finding ways to make them okay with it or to normalize it. Even giving them examples, or like, this person goes to therapy, this person goes to therapy. Maybe that's something that can help the kiddo feel more normalized about it.
And as a therapist, I've even been challenged about, oh, well, but you're a therapist, so I guess you don't need it. It's like, no, one of my professors had this great little speech that she gave about how every great therapist has a therapist. And so even therapists go and seek mental health services. It's all part of our beliefs and what we do, and we want to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves just as much as we want our clients to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
I think it's also important for us. I mean, we don't want to recommend someone to go to therapy and then, like, on the other hand, be like, well, I don't need therapy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So we don't want to be hypocrites in ourselves.
Yeah.
So part of our schooling also encourages us to go to therapy sessions and try it out and see what how different therapists, different approaches. I think a big thing is kind of getting the children in and changing that perspective of what therapy is. Because a lot of them think we're going to sit down and we're going to talk all this out. And I think they'll be surprised when they see all the different activities that we have for them and all the different interventions that we actually do that are a lot of hands-on and painting and things like that. That they'll be like, wait, this is therapy?
Yeah.
So
a lot of times it seems like fun activities, but as they're talking and let everything out, they don't even notice. It's like, it's not just talk therapy. They're actually doing something actively, especially with Myra. That's what she tries to do, get them to actively be working on something and also talking about it at the same time. So it's not just that talk therapy where you see in the movies, like someone laying down on the couch.
Tell me how you feel.
Yeah, don't listen to the movies. It's not really like that. There's so many ways to do therapy, and it's not just what people have made it to be. It's very different. And I think that's something I would love to work on, and I'm sure all of our team does. Normalizing therapy, giving people and that's why we're actually doing this today, so that you guys can see that therapy isn't just what it's made to be on the social media. Like, therapy is very different, and I'm hoping the more we talk about it, the more we express ourselves and like what it is, other people will be like, oh, you know what, like maybe I do want to go hang out with these people and see what they have to offer. So hopefully we can do a little bit of our part to get kiddos to understand why it's important to come to therapy.
Okay. So Arte, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but they say they're so proud of Parents by Choice mental health team. Thank you for being part of the journey to provide healing and hope to so many children in our agency. It truly takes individuals like you all to care.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're
Because
definitely
I think
trying
as a
to-
team, this is probably one of the best teams that I've worked on. I
definitely.
feel like we all really do genuinely care about our clients and each other,
Mhm.
and doing the best work that we can possibly do. And on days that we're feeling not up to par, we always talk to each other and
Mhm.
build ourselves up even.
Exactly.
And so I feel like as a team, we do a really good job at that.
Yeah. We're here for the kiddos and for each other. So
Mhm.
thank you for that.
See if there's anything else in the chat that I'm missing. Okay. Anything else you guys want to add or close out with?
I think as a team, we've also been doing some other cool projects as well, not just individualized therapy.
Mhm.
There's a couple wellness groups. There's a staff wellness group that I've been doing.
Yeah.
A foster parent wellness group that I've been doing, which has been a lot of fun to get some parents together just to, relate to each other and just talk about what they're going through and maybe learn a couple new things and just once a week just have that space reserved for each other.
Definitely.
And then the three of us, have started a teen group.
Yeah.
Just to get some teens out of the house and doing something different and just provide a little extra support. So as a team, it's not just about that. It's about branching out and doing other things within the community and within our agency. And so yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there a little bit.
Yeah, just trying to get everyone involved with the mental health services and kind of limit that or take away that stigma that mental health is like, oh, you're crazy or you're this and this. It's not that. We all need it. We all can benefit from it. And it's just amazing. Mental health is amazing.
Yeah, I think that's the big part of what we're trying to do is just to normalize it, get rid of that stigma. A lot of people have that kind of mentality where like you're going to therapy, like what's wrong with you? And there's nothing wrong with you. Everyone needs a little bit extra support here and there, and there's nothing wrong with seeking somebody else who can help you, guide you through what's going on in your life.
Exactly.
Especially an unbiased opinion, somebody that just doesn't know what's going on and can help you. Because sometimes when you talk to your friends or your family, they're like you said, they're very biased.
They
have
They
their
love
own
you,
opinions,
so-
and they either love you or they're against you in
Yeah.
some way, and they make that point across. Whereas a therapist is going to be very unbiased and just very matter of fact about, okay,
Yeah.
this is what I'm hearing from you. What is it that you want to work on, and let's achieve that.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else in the chat? So, Marina, do you want to talk a little bit about the therapeutic foster care side of it, just briefly?
Yeah, so I'm actually spearheading the TFC portion of it. I'm the one that goes ahead and helps parents get certified, do all the trainings with them, and kind of encourage them to keep going because, of course, with any type of certification, you need to do the training, and it is a bit of training. But I think it's worth it because obviously you want to give the kiddos the best services. If you guys are interested, you could definitely go ahead and send us a DM, or I'm not sure how that works. I'm not with Facebook. But therapeutic foster care, it's pretty much, again, like I mentioned, you get certified, you do trainings that'll teach you about documentation, your own therapeutic view on the services you'll be providing and what it is. So let's say we have a child who is on the fence about the home they're in, or they're about to have a notice or something. We could put them in the TFC care, which after the parent is certified, and Myra or whoever is working with the kid, they'll have a treatment plan. In that treatment plan, they would include the TFC services, and it would be on a goal. So let's say the kiddo's having anxiety, so one of their symptoms is like they're not sleeping very well. The TFC parent would then daily try to do an intervention with the kiddo that works on sleep. So let's say building a schedule or a nighttime routine to get that time to a better sleep time, or just getting them comfortable, making them feel safe at night. And the therapist who is in charge of the case will be able to help the TFC parent navigate that and help them daily. They also have supervision weekly where they talk about the kiddo and their process and talk about different interventions that can better help the kiddo for this example with sleep. So really it's just making sure, kind of like what Mario's doing, but in the home they get more out of the treatment. Rather than just seeing Myra or whoever the clinician is that they will be seeing, they get to build these skills daily. So they come in once a week with Myra. They work on anxiety or whatever it is. Myra also meets with the TFC parent, focuses on the goal. The TFC parent then goes home and tries to build on that skill every day. And that in turn just makes it different. Instead, I think the big difference is just making sure that the kiddo is getting treatment every day rather than once a week, because once a week it's great, but you know you have struggles 7 days a week. 1 day a week isn't enough sometimes. So that's why we have that option for those that need that little extra help, get it at home with the parents. And then I think the training is so important because it really talks about just being sensitive to the client, understanding them and their feelings, and not getting angry with them when they're not doing what they're supposed to do, because a lot of times no one really knows what they're doing, or they just have these feelings, they have an outburst, and a parent could get very frustrated and be like, okay, I'm going to put a notice, so even just the training gives the foster parent an understanding of what the client is going through, and then they can help them, and in turn I feel like it'll also help them just be more patient, understanding, and so overall it's a really good program just to help the kiddo and the foster parent just have a better connection, and for the foster parent to be able to help the kiddo too.
I feel like having that daily support from a parental figure in that way to work on those specific interventions, it leaves more space during the once a week sessions with the clinician to maybe work on the trauma or work on some of the harder issues, because we're not focused on some of those smaller symptoms. Those are being taken care of maybe with Mario or maybe with the foster parent in the home, which is great because we can still monitor that and try to work on those interventions, but it allows us to go a little bit deeper within some of the other things that kid may need to work on.
Yeah, definitely.
That goes back to just kind of that skill building piece of making sure the client's ready, so that when they meet with the therapist, it's not, okay, well, we got to backtrack now and go over the skill building again, when the TFC parent or myself can kind of do that on the side, so that when they meet with the therapist, they can actually get to the deeper issues.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in becoming a TFC parent, the process is the same as becoming a foster parent. So you would just go to our website, www.parentsbychoice.net, sign up to be a foster parent on there, and then the additional training for TFC, for therapeutic foster care.
Yes.
Just to see if there's anything else in the... No, nothing. Just someone saying, thank you, you guys rock.
Yay!
If you guys don't have anything else you guys want to include.
There's a question.
Oh, there's a question? Oh, there it is. Just popped up. Okay. Do you offer any type of therapy for foster parents and their foster child, in case they're having problems bonding?
Okay. I'm not. Maybe you can answer this. I have like an idea. Let's say the kiddo was getting services, and that was one of the things that they wanted to be on their treatment plan or their goal. That is definitely something that can be incorporated. But I'm not sure if we actually do like family therapy.
Specifically, I don't think we work with the foster parent maybe separately or as a bigger unit all the time. We're focused on the foster child. But if, like Marina was saying, if that's an issue that we're having is the connection there between the foster parent and kid, of course we'll bring the parent and we'll work collaboratively to figure out like how can we make this work for both. What are some of the things that the parent can do, what are some of the things the child can do, and we'll bring that in and work as a team. So it's a part of it, yes.
So it can happen.
So thank you, Cynthia, for asking that question. So Miss Virginia says, great job, very informational.
Good. I'm glad we were able to get something out there, and really excited to be doing this.
All right. So thank you guys for joining me today. If you guys want to know more information, you can just visit our website. We'll post more things. We'll post more things on our social media as well, since May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yay!
So you guys can join me again Tuesday at 3 o'clock. I'll be joined by Angela and Randy. They are part of our Positive Parenting Childcare. They're going to demonstrate a few activities you can do in the home with the kids, and they'll talk how they do childcare for positive parenting. And, well, at least right now they can't do anything because of COVID-19, but once everything opens back up, they'll be back and ready into doing childcare. So, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.